You are Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me or unfollow me, mute me, anything on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Jake_Riepma. Fired up as always to be with you. Not so fired up about the result yet again today. 6-3 the final, but it was 6-1 entering the ninth. Not to take anything away from Gio Urshela's two-run bomb over the monster in the ninth, but again, it's a day where the offense didn't really make much noise at all. And on top of that, our guy, Reese Olson, tagged for 5 earned runs. That's a season high, and we will talk about that as well. And after winning the first game of this series, the Tigers are in a position where they need to win tomorrow to at least earn a split. And in a 4-game series, big difference in losing 3 out of 4 than splitting the series. Obviously, there's a big difference. Thanks a lot, Jake. Appreciate that. But I am your host of the Locked On Tigers postcast, Jake Riepma, formerly with 97.1 The Ticket, now with Locked On Sports Detroit, and this is your friendly or not so friendly reminder to subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit, one-stop shop for everything Tigers postcast. That means at the conclusion of the game, we hop on, we riff about it, and we get it going. So if you're joining us on YouTube, let your voice be heard, fire off a comment, and I will get to them throughout the course of the program. If you're joining us audio only on the Spotify or Apple Podcast, wherever you get your podcast, thanks so much for doing that. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers postcast part of your day, your first listen at that, your spot for all things Tigers postcast. And don't forget, we are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. All part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show also made possible by FanDuel, where you make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. See what I said there? You just have to win one $5 bet when you're a new customer, and you get $150 in bonus bets. That's $150, any winning $5 bet. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Proud to make this program happen. Saying hello to everybody on the YouTube stream. Demetrius McNeil first in the comments. The play of the game was unbelievable diving catch to rob the Tigers of extra base hit and an RBI single. 3 errors cost them dearly. There you have it, the Spark Notes version of what happened in the 6-3 final. And I would agree. Once again, it's Ceddanne Rafaela, this time defensively. He had a big game offensively yesterday, but that diving catch he made in the 6th inning in a 3-1 ball game was really impressive, and robbed Wenzel Perez of, and even with Perez, I think it's extra base hits, extra bases at least, and for sure Veerling would have scored. He gets doubled up, inning over. Red Sox come back and score 2 in the home half of the 6th with that cheap, pesky pole home run, which we'll also talk about. But a home run that traveled a whopping 318 feet. So that said, difficult to, tough pill to swallow on that one. It was a tremendous play by Rafael. I got to give him a lot of credit. On the broadcast, they talked about him being from the same island that Andrew Jones is from, longtime Braves center fielder. He played elsewhere as well, but just one of the best defensive center fielders to ever do it. And he looked like Andrew Jones on that play. So that said, disappointing day at the ballpark, because another one where you get a run in the top of the first, and maybe this is just the way my mind works and nobody else's does, but when you're the visiting team and you have the opportunity to get on the board first, at the same token, you've got one of your big guns going on the mound. You feel like even just one run should give you that confidence boost, that momentum. And unfortunately, the Tigers and Reese Olson in particular just didn't grab this game by the horns after the Tigers struck first. And now I'm not suggesting, please don't hear this, I'm not suggesting you score one run in the top of the first, okay, Reese Olson will do the rest. Obviously, that's not the way the game works, the ebbs and flows. You're not gonna have your Cy Young stuff every single day, and today was an example of that for Reese Olson. So Riley Greene had an RBI in the top of the first to put the Tigers up 1-0. So Riley Greene singled home Matt Vierling to make it 1-0 in the top of the first. And then bottom of the second, that's when the first home run Reese Olson gave up. I mean, that was a shot. That was, you got your money's worth there. Valdez hit both of the home runs in this game. And we talked about the pesky pole one, but Manuel Valdez, that first shot, I mean, that is that's gone in a lot of ballparks. So not gonna call that one a cheap home run by any means. And for Reese Olson, this is a guy that had given up one home run in all of his starts combined entering today, and he gives up 2 today, which is just, it's kind of crazy. In 56 innings, he gives up he'd given up 1 home run entering today, and now after the start, he's given up 3 total home runs. So that it's just it's crazy because it's just a guy that doesn't give up a lot of home runs, and the Red Sox just they're a good team. They are, I mean, like the Tigers, they're a 500 team, and today they were the better team at the ballpark, resulting in the 6-3 win over the Tigers, who have now dropped 2 straight to move to 20-30 on the season, 14-15 on the road. Like I said, final game of the finale tomorrow. I believe it's a regularly scheduled 1:00 start. Let me just kind of double check. Yeah, 1:35. So a little bit later, 1:35 first pitch tomorrow from Fenway Park. But let me know what you think in the comments for the way the Tigers played today. Reese Olson roughed up for 2 home runs. He had given up 1 home run in 56 innings entering tonight, and he gives up 2. And there it is in the comments. I got to listen to Jack Lauderay. Valdez, 2 home runs for him again today. And again, Reese Olson had given up 1 home run in 56 innings, and Valdez somehow comes away with 2 home runs. Although, again, anybody that wants to talk about that second home run, 318 feet around the pesky pole, I guess that's just some home field advantage, knowing the nooks and crannies of the ballpark and knowing the oddities of all that gives Fenway Park so much character. Part of that is the pesky pole. Other comment from my guy Lauderay here, big Red Sox fan, best defender I've ever seen. Let's not get carried away. At the beginning of the program, and some of the other comments, we talked about how good of a play that was, because it really was very impressive. A diving catch totally changed the outlook of the game. We're talking about a 3-1 game. That Wenzel Perez line shot to center would obviously scored Vierling. That makes it 3-2. Maybe the Tigers get a little momentum. You got 1 out and a man on, but the diving catch by Rafael, which he covered so much ground. And then he looked like Superman. He was parallel to the ground when he made the catch, completely outstretched, the definition of a web gem. So props to him all the way. That's one where you just got to tip the cap, and that's never fun when it's the opposition, but in a setting like that, that's really all you can do. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention, I guess this will be a Say Something Nice about Javi Baez episode. We haven't had one in a while because there really hasn't been anything nice to say about Javi Baez, but that play he made in the bottom of the 8th inning on the backhand spinning around, that was as Jason Benetti described it, insane. And it was a really, really good play by Javi Baez. So here I am, 8:50 into the program, saying something nice about Javi Baez. It had been a while since I did that. But we're going to break down Reese Olson's start, where it went wrong, and what's wrong with this offense, because it's another game where they're just completely shut down. And I know Gio Urshela had the 2-run homer in the 9th, but you're not going to win games entering the 9th inning down 6-1. And again, it's what the conversations we've had and we will continue to have about the starting pitcher, how they have to feel like they just go out and pitch a perfect game. And Reese Olson will tell you he has to be better. The 2-run shot around the pesky pole takes it from a quality start of 6 innings and 3 runs to now all of a sudden you gave up 5 runs. And that looks a whole heck of a lot different in the box score than 3 runs does. There you go. A little baseball lesson for you. But obviously you understand what I'm saying, that one pitch and that Valdez homer is what took this start and turned it upside down. get to a comment here from S-Dog. Hate to see a losing streak again. We don't usually play well in Boston, though. Yeah, the Tigers have, for years and years and years, never really had a lot of success in Fenway Park. But as I mentioned in the open, it is just a whole heck of a lot different to split a 4-game series than to lose 3 out of 4. So tomorrow puts a lot of emphasis on the importance of that, as the Tigers are now 2 games under 500, and you can get back to a game under 500 and then put everything you've got together for a series against the Texas Rangers, the defending World Series champ, in beautiful Globe Life Park beginning on Monday. So we'll continue to discuss all things Tigers. As always, a weekend show, so we can get a little bit crazy with it. We don't have to stick to just the box score, what we saw today. Anything else going around you want to discuss, we are open to that as well. But don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers continues in just a moment. All right, today's show made possible and brought to you by America's #1 sportsbook. You know, by now that is FanDuel, and it's winner take all season in both the NBA and the NHL. We've got the NBA Finals all set in stone. It's the Dallas Mavericks against the Boston Celtics. Kyrie going back to Boston where they hate him. So get your bets ready to go. And in the NHL playoffs, it's a good one between both the Stars and the Oilers, as well on the Eastern Conference Finals side of things, the Rangers and the Panthers. Panthers with the 3-2 lead. They try to close it out tonight. But don't waste any more time, because if you're a new customer, you can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. So get comfortable, make a winning $5 bet as a new customer, and you get $150 in bonus bets to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. That's what's all about. That's what's fun. Make the shot count. FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, tough one again today. Reese Olson gives up the 5 earned runs. Go ahead and read his final line for you. Gets the loss. He's now 1-6, which is just insane. He has one of the best ERAs in baseball, but 5 1/3, 6 hits, 5 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and very, very, it's so crazy to see the 2 next to the home runs allowed, because all season you just see 0, 0, 0, 0. Because again, 1 home run allowed in 56 innings prior to today. But give the Red Sox credit. I guess it's knowing the ballpark. Like I said, Valdez's first home run, that's the definition of a major league big fly. He got all that one, nothing cheap about it. But the second one, come on, you got to feel a little guilty running around the bases, having just hit a ball 318 feet, and that's a home run. It's like a wiffle ball home run, but it is what it is, and the Tigers will have to try to bounce back. And like I said, even a series, because it's not panic time. It's not sky is falling time. It's more of what we know this team to be. And that is just not a good baseball team. Some parts to build around, some great pitching, no offense, but good to see Riley Greene starting to, I think you can officially say that slump is behind him. 2 more hits today, Veerling with 2 hits. So you get production from the top 2 hitters in your lineup, and then Gio Urshela, 2-run homer in the 9th and the cleanup spot. Tough day for Wenzel Perez. I know he was robbed on that one, but 0 for 3 day. Did draw 1 walk, so he was on base at least once. But after that, the bottom of this order is just goose egg after goose egg after goose egg. I guess we can talk about Spencer Torkelson, even though it's the same conversation. Tork, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, just not a big league hitter. And if he wasn't a first overall pick, he's sent down. That's just the way it is. He's just not seeing the ball. He is a liability in this lineup, and it's unfortunate, because he is a guy that all eyes are going to be on him, and that's just comes with the territory of being a first overall pick. And if the Tigers could somehow figure out how to get him going, then maybe we're talking about a different outlook on this season. And that is a lot of pressure to put on one guy. It's just at this point, I think because of the struggles and how long it's been a thing, for lack of a better way to put it, and how long we've endured this, and how long he's endured these challenges at the plate. I just think the more and more I toss the idea around in my head, I'm not opposed to sending him down. And he's so young, and it's a bummer, but it just maybe will be the right change of scenery that he needs. And because this ain't it. This isn't trotting him out there as an everyday player with these numbers. It's just there's no point. And after today, you just look at the box score, like what are we doing? A slug of 330, OBP 266, batting average dipping right at 201. I mean, what are we doing? And I know the extra base stuff is there, doubles in particular at times, but it's reached a point where we're kind of, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see, especially too with some of the potential injuries looming. Not great news with Kerry Carpenter. I know Johnny Kane was talking about that on the broadcast today, that it could be a little bit longer than the initial 10-day stint on the injured list. Mark Hanna, a guy that was scratched from a start and is continuing to undergo some tests, although his is thought not to be as severe. The stuff in the hip tightness, hip flexors, that sort of thing. But the season it's June 1. It's too early to punt on the season. I still am of that belief, but June's an important month because June will dictate what happens in important times in July, albeit one very, very important time in the trade deadline, and what will happen with the core of this team. We know how Scott Harris feels, and it's greedy of me from a fan's perspective, I guess, to want to go out and make some kind of move that will make this team competitive or more competitive and be buyers as opposed to sellers. But then I see the other side of the coin too, with there's some guys on this roster whose value would be so incredibly high, and you get a king's ransom in return for a short-term rental player. And that's just, that kind of is I don't want to say it's the necessary evil of being the team the way the Tigers are structured, but it's more of the reality of Major League Baseball, the reality of a team that doesn't spend, a reality of in my opinion, what Scott Harris has turned into a small market minded organization. When you've got a star and you're not contending for postseason baseball, then you sell and you get prospects in return and hope that they work out. And as I say that out loud, it's just such a bummer because nobody wants to root for that, and again, maybe that's fanboy into a microphone me, but at the same time, if I'm not saying what's in my mind, that's just doing a disservice. So I hope that the month of June for the Tigers can be closer to the month of April, not the month of May, because not a great month for the Tigers in the month of May, and June not off to a good start with the loss today. But again, that's life in Major League Baseball. But I'll tell you what, life at FanDuel and life at Locked On is good because Locked On has launched a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for every single day, with programming 24/7 to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming at the TV that you might see on other four-letter networks. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube. Everybody can watch it. It's free, or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. You can get that on your smart TV. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, we'll wrap this one up with a look at Sunday's matchup between the Tigers and the Red Sox, and tie a bow on this one and let everybody get on with their Saturday. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers continues in just a moment. Fired up to tell you about Stitch Fix and StitchFix.com. If you're like me, you don't mind having a little assist in the styling department to help you look your best. Because look, you probably got the tools. You can make it work with a little bit of help. That's what I'm talking about. Because instant confidence boosts are a good thing. And that's what you can get from an outfit that makes you look really good. And that's what you get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget, and they'll do all the work, all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season and look like $1,000,000. You know what? We say it about the Tigers all the time. The Old English D, the City Connect uniforms, even the Road Grays, the Tigers always look good. And that's what you want to look. You want to look your best, look good, feel good, play good, and so on and so forth. Upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I tried it once. You just give your stylist your size, style, budget preferences, and then you order the boxes when you want, how you want to, no subscription required. And they send 5 just for you piece plus anything else, recommendations and pro styling advice that works. And if you don't love it, you send it back. Your stylist always sends just right pieces, though. I'm confident you're going to love it. The fit is on point. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. And you know what? It's great for me because I can't stand going to the mall and you gotta find parking, then you gotta walk in. There's always kids screaming. You know, this is a much better experience. That said, I love kids. We all love kids, but you get the point. With Stitch Fix, you get style that makes you feel good, and it's as good as you look. Get started today at StitchFix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's right. It's StitchFix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first sticks. That's StitchFix.com/MLB for $20 off. StitchFix.com/MLB. You must redeem within 7 days of signing up. So sign up at StitchFix.com/MLB for $20 off and then redeem within 7 days. That's right. Stitch Fix makes it easy. That's why I love it. We tie a bow on today's Locked On Tigers postcast, looking ahead to tomorrow, because again, this is a huge game. Tigers need to figure out a way to split this series, especially with how promising it started with that win on Thursday night, where they just played a really good game, won and dominated in a lot of sense, 5-0. You get the shutout win. It was what was meant to be. And Flaherty was so good. So you gotta, if you gotta figure out a way to earn at least a split. Bookends of the series, win the first, win the last, and then carry some momentum into Monday's game against the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. So looking at the pitching matchup, Casey Mize will go for the Tigers. He's 1-3 on the season, 4.71 ERA, struck out 34. Brian Bilo for the Red Sox, 6-2, 4.18 ERA, 44 strikeouts for him. And I also think you got to put some on the offense. And look, I know you can win games with 3 runs, which is what they had today, but Reese Olson wasn't his best today. You got to figure out a way to get some runs early and not be trailing so much because both the last 2 games in the 9th inning, the Tigers offense hasn't gone down quietly, but the deficit has just been too great to overcome. And you just got to get out of that rut of losing baseball. So other observations from today, I mean, the bullpen came in. Chafin did give up the 1 run in his 1 inning of work. So it wasn't a perfect day from the bullpen, but kind of a low stress situation as well with the Red Sox having such a lead going into the final parts of those innings. But that said, I hope the Tigers can figure out a way to play a little bit better tomorrow. And again, the road trip started promising. It's a 7-game trip. Now 1-2 with 4 more to go, 1 more against Boston, and then 3 against the defending world champion Texas Rangers, who were in what their roughest stretch of the season prior to a quick 2-game win streak against the Diamondbacks earlier this week. I know they lost to the Marlins yesterday. I'm not sure what they're doing today, but point being, the Rangers have kind of hit a tough stretch in their season as well, falling a little bit below 500. So take advantage of that. But as always, appreciate everybody tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air. And as we have reminded you in the past, cool thing about Locked On Tigers Postcast is it's your 1-2 punch with Locked On Tigers. So make sure you're checking out Locked On Tigers Monday through Friday with Scott Bentley, making that your first listen as always. And don't forget about Locked On's national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, also available on Amazon Fire TV, free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day. Local experts of Locked On, plus national shows covering every single league. And the great thing about it, it's free. Find Locked On Sports today on the free Fire TV channels app and YouTube. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. And even though the Red Sox won, thank you to Jack Lauderay for spamming the chat with his Red Sox nonsense. I tried to go with the jersey today, maybe breathe some life into the Tigers. That didn't really work out today, but I love the old 84. Let me try that again. If you're listening to the audio only version, I am holding my jersey into the camera, but the microphone's in the way. But you get what I'm saying there. So, all right, appreciate everybody tuning in as always. It's a pleasure to be on the air. Tigers lose this one 6-3, the final. It's 2 home runs off the bat of Valdez against Reese Olson. One of them travels a whopping 318 feet, tucked around the pesky pole. And in center field, you got to give credit to Cedane Rafaela, absolutely robbing Wenzel Perez of an RBI hit. Would have been probably extra bases for sure, but that in a 3-1 game was about to make it 3-2, doubles the Tigers up, ends the 6th, and then in the bottom of the 6th is when Valdez hit those 2 home run, or hit that second home run of the game, and results in the 6-3 win for the Boston Red Sox. So bummer. Yeah, that's going to happen for Valdez. It was his third and fourth home run of the season. For Gio Urshela, his 2-run bomb, his second of the season, gets him 2 RBI. And again, with the loss, Reese Olson falls to 1-6, giving up 5 earned runs on 6 hits, 5 1/3, struck out 5, but the 2 home runs is what you'll take away from this start. So Tigers, Red Sox, game 4 of the 4-game series tomorrow afternoon. We'll be on the air immediately following it. Reese Olson gets the loss today. Casey Mize goes for the Tigers tomorrow in a must-win game. Yeah, we got to win this one. That's right. Tigers with the loss fall 2 games below 500, 28-30, 14-15 on the road. And after winning the first game of this series, which was a part of 4 out of 6, I'm sorry, they've now lost 2 in a row. So that said, shout out to Mr. Nick in the comments. Go Tigers. I know Mr. Nick and his wonderful mother, Beth, were at the game. They need to go back to the game. They were at the game Thursday. Almost saw the Flaherty. They saw Flaherty almost get the no-hitter, but that was a big win for the Tigers. They were obviously provided some good mojo for the Tigers, some good juju, and we love that. But yeah, Mr. Nick, head back out to Boston. You're the good luck charm for the Tigers. So game 4 of the series tomorrow. Make sure you join us immediately following the game. We'll be on the air for your postcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit on the YouTube. It's free. And go ahead and give us a like. Tell your friends about it as well on this video, because it's always a pleasure to be on the air with you. So we'll see you next time. As always, all my best to each and every one of you. Appreciate you guys tuning in to Locked On Tigers Postcast. And have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you soon.